Oh, hi, it's Howard again, and this time we're having a look at one of my very favourite cameras, the Minolta Hi-Matic 9. Now, the Hi-Matic 9 is the best Hi-Matic made by Minolta. This is not only my opinion, but others as well. It was the second last of the full-size Minolta 35mm rangefinders, and the best. Let's have a look at it. It's got a Rockor PF 45mm f1.7 lens, 6 elements in 5 groups with excellent colour coding. It's a real beauty. The shutter, and we can see that here on the bottom, is the Seiko FLA. Now that's an excellent shutter. It goes from 1 second to 1/500th of a second plus B, and apertures from f1.7 to f16. There's a lot happening on this lens barrel. We've got a battery power check test, Flashmatic system, full auto exposure, programmed, metered manual exposure, full manual exposure, ISO/ASA selector, and a focusing scale in feet and meters. So let's just run through that and I'll show you where everything is. First of all, we've got the ISO scale here. There's even an offsetting, but I don't use that. It goes from 25 ASA around to 800. As you can see, I've got it on 200 ASA, which is the film I use most regularly. If we come around a little bit further, we've got the guide number set up for the Flashmatic system with an arrowhead to go to that. So depending on the flash, you select the guide number as per specified by the flash. We come around a little bit further. You'll see there's 2 green dots there. There's also a green dot on the focusing scale. If you line all 3 green dots up with this little checklist here, check sign here, you'll get a battery indicator in the viewfinder showing that the battery is or isn't the correct voltage and ready to go. Come around a little bit further, we've got the distance scale in meters and feet. We've got the speed, the shutter speed ring, the aperture ring. Now at the moment you can see the camera is set with the 2 red A's on the selector mark. Now in that mode it's fully automatic and it's a program mode. It covers a wide range of exposure range from basically about 5 to 17. That's equivalent to about 1/15th of a second at 1.7 through to a 250th at f16. If you want to go manual, so basically you just leave it on that for all normal photography in normal daylight hours. Just stick to a fully automatic and you can't go wrong. If you want to go manual though, there's a little push button around here. It's more like a tab than a button, but if you push that in and hold it in, then you can turn these 2 rings individually. So you can set the shutter speed wherever you like and the aperture wherever you like. So you can use it fully manually, or you can use it in a metered manual mode, which refers to you look through the viewfinder at the scene, take off the EV reading, whatever it is, and then you can manually adjust the various aperture and shutter until the EV reading that you read off the needle appears in the window. And there you've actually overridden the program mode, but you've got settings that agree with the actual EV itself. Okay, on top of the camera we've got the rewind lever. It's got a nice little extension, but unusually most rewind levers have a little arrow to indicate the direction to rewind. These don't, but it's clockwise, so that's that. We've got the hot flash shoe for the Flashmatic system, and you could also use bulb flashes if you've still got one of those hanging around, but basically it's set up for electronic flash. We've got the film advance lever. Now it goes a long way around, 220 degrees for some reason. A bit odd, but you do get used to it. And the shutter button, I've got a little soft press adapter on top of this to make it a little easier, but it's got quite a long and quite a heavy throw. And that's partly because it's all linked into the automatic exposure system. So you've got the advantage that a half press will lock your exposure, and then you can reframe the photo. We've also got the frame counter over on the right, and that sets back to 0 automatically when you open the back, which we'll now do. Okay, very easy camera to load. I think there's 4 take-up slots in the take-up spool, so you can use any one of those. You've got a nice big cutout to help slide the cassette in, because this, unlike some cameras, this doesn't push up. So you've got to bring the cassette in from the bottom, locate it on the forks, bring the leader of the film across, push the tongue into the slot, making sure the little tooth at the bottom engages one of the sprocket holes. Wind it around, make sure it's holding all right, sitting on the sprockets, and then you can close the back. Okay, and give it wind it through till you get to number 1 in the viewfinder. Okay, what I always also tend to do is rewind the cassette a little to the point where you can feel a bit of resistance. Don't strain it at all. Close it in, and then when you actually wind it on, this will rotate with it. You know the film's rotating and properly fed through the camera. Also, we've got a little film window on the back here, so if you've done everything right, there'll be a little red bar in the right-hand corner of this little window. We've got the viewfinder on the back. Now, it's a very good viewfinder. It's clear, parallax corrected. It's got a lovely bright rangefinder diamond in the middle. It's got the EV scale on the right and the indicator needle as well. So everything you want is in the window. Okay, there's nothing really on the sides except the strap lugs for a neck strap. Underneath, we've got the cutout, the battery cover, a standard tripod 1/4 inch mount, and the release for the rewind. So just pressed in once, it'll stay there, and then you can rewind the film all the way through back into the cassette. Now, talking about batteries, the big problem with this camera is, and virtually all the similar cameras of that era, was that the batteries, the cameras were designed for to use a 1.35 volt mercury battery, and these are no longer available. You can, however, use a wine cell, that's W-E-I-N cell, and you can buy them on eBay, and they're the correct voltage, they're the 1.35 voltage, or you can get an adapter like I have. So we've got a little adapter that you can buy also on eBay. They're about $31, and they reduce the voltage of something like this battery, which is an LR43. You can also use SR43s. And it reduces the 1.5 volts in this battery, 1.5, yeah, down to 1.35. So then you can use that, and the metering will give correct results. If we look inside the lens barrel, you'll see the CDS cell for the metering system, and beside it the letters CLC. The CLC stands for, and it was a sort of unique to Minolta at this era, a contrast light compensation metering system, and it uses 2 CDS cells to improve meter accuracy, especially in high contrast conditions. And because the metering is within the lens barrel, there's no compensation required for filters or anything like that. It's also in typical Minolta style, very well built and well finished camera, so you certainly won't have any complaints in that department. And of course, because it's a fully mechanical camera, you can actually use it without a battery. You need a camera, but you can use it without a battery. So no problem there. If you've got a separate light meter or anything like that, you can use that as well. There's no problem there. Okay, I think we've covered pretty much everything on it to an extent. If you want to get a manual for it, a user's manual, there's a website which is www.butkus.org, and he's a gentleman named Mr. Butkus, and he's got a range of, I think it's 6,500 different manuals there that you can download free. But he would like a $3 donation if you could manage that. But it's excellent value. He's got manuals for virtually everything, and you can get into the real detail of the camera with that. Having said that, if you're looking at picking one of these up, they're fairly rare. The much more common Hi-Matic 7S, which was the previous model to this, is also an excellent camera and would be a good choice as a substitute. They're a lot more common and easy to find. And both of these cameras are relatively cheap compared to the quality that they are. They both have very complex shutter mechanisms, however, so make sure you buy one that works correctly. Yeah, so overall, the Hi-Matic 9 is a camera that's very easy to use and produces excellent photos automatically under normal lighting conditions, and in manual mode can be very versatile. If you're considering getting into 35mm film photography, either the 9 or the 7S would be an excellent choice. I can't recommend both of them too highly. They're both excellent cameras. Well, that's about it. So now's the time, if you found this useful, this video, to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate your support. As you can see, I've only got I think this is my 7th review. I've got 15 subscribers, so any assistance in that area would be really helpful. So that's bye. Thanks from me and goodbye, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.